Welcome to the Author's Corner with H.D. Campbell. For over 10 years, giving you the best author reviews, features, and more with a surprise or two. All for you, the author. Now kick off your shoes and enjoy the show with your host, me, author H.D. Campbell. Welcome to an all-new Author's Corner with H.D. Campbell. As always, I'm your host, H.D. Campbell. Show's kind of late this week. I had an outage last night with my internet and my cable. It kept going out, and then unfortunate things kept happening. But that wasn't going to stop the show at all. If I had to do the show this morning, I was going to wrap it up this morning. So, again, apologize for the lateness, but the cable and internet went out. I was supposed to be commentating the Republican National Convention and a few other things. Fortunately, God intervened. I was able to do some things and was able to get some of the show out. So I'm always going to be here to serve you. The internet's not going to affect my grind, my clients, none of that. So, boo you to technology. Technology is not the winner today. Yeah, there's more than one way to do anything. With that said, we'll have a great show today, and I'm really not feeling well. I'm really kind of tired this morning, and I have to admit my blood pressure is kind of high. Trying to get everything caught up and things. So I really need her today. Her name is Dr. Charm Timms. She has a wonderful book called The Quarantine Kitchen. She talks about health, stress, healthy eating, and everything. And and don't get me wrong, she's a Southern girl, so don't think none of her stuff do not have flavor. Her stuff have flavor. It tastes good. So don't let the smooth taste fool you, as they say. So we'll talk to her first. Then we're gonna have a talk with a very good friend of mine, Honey Berewa, as better known as Honey, and a few other identities. We're going to talk books. We're going to talk a little bit about politics. I got an announcement for about another conversation me and her are going to have much later. It's a whole wonderful conversation, so stick around for that. So when we come back, we're going to start with Charm Timms.
Have you seen The Author's Corner with H.D. Campbell? It's the best show you're not watching. Every week we have authors, editors, artists, and others from various industries. There are 3 ways to watch Author's Corner, primarily on our YouTube channel, HD Television, on our HD Television Facebook page, and on our media page at www.hdcampbellmedia.com. It's the Author's Corner with H.D. Campbell. Check it out weekly, and as always, let your writing fuel your spirit. And God bless you. Do you need editing and formatting services, promotion, or do you need a press kit? Let H.D. Campbell Productions put together a package to suit your needs. Let us handle your promotion, editing, press kits, photography service, and a lot more. We even do custom videos and videography. To learn more, log on to www.hdcampbell3.com or email us at hdcampbell3@msn.com for a free brochure. You can also contact us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, and LinkedIn. We guarantee professional services at reasonable prices. Check us out, and as always, let your writing fuel your spirit.
Dr. Charm Timms, what can I say about her? I mean, the Quarantine Kitchen, I mean, she talks about health, how we can be naturally healthy, how we can show us how we can better take care of ourselves, show us how we can be better as people without having to rely on so much. She teaches us how to eat healthy without having to sacrifice taste. So here's the interview, and see for yourself.
Well, the Quarantine Kitchen is a cookbook compiled by 12 Black female holistic health providers. The majority of us are naturopathic doctors. And for people who are not familiar with naturopathic medicine integrates regular medicine, like when you get your prescription drugs and x-rays and surgery and that kind of thing, in a traditional medical school. And it integrates the alternative health modalities such as nutrition, Chinese medicine, acupuncture, chiropractic, what we call mind body techniques, also just any of those natural healing modalities. And so as a naturopathic doctor, I attended medical school and have been in clinical practice for over a decade. I'm licensed in Arizona. Naturopathic medicine is not licensed in every state. There's a huge push for us to become licensed in every state. When I started medical school 15 years ago, there were only 6 states that were licensed. Now we have 22. So in about 15 years, we've really grown. However, we're still pushing and really wanting to get our message out there. And I think the climate now is much more conducive to holistic health, and so many people are going vegan. I mean, you have a vegan Impossible Burger at Burger King. So 20 years ago when I was vegetarian, I would never have seen anything like that. So the climate now is much more conducive to getting our message out, but I've been on this path for over 20 years. So when we have a situation like the coronavirus, it just really puts a spotlight on immune health and your immune system. And there are so many people, the people who are really perishing from coronavirus, though we have some healthy people who have perished, the people who really have the complications are those who have weakened immune systems. So these are people who suffer from obesity or have diabetes or heart disease, some of the elderly, because their immune systems are just weakened just because of aging. So from my perspective as a naturopathic doctor, I want to do what I can. Yes, I'm wearing my mask. Yes, we're taking these social distancing and these precautions and things. However, we don't have a vaccine for this. So right now, the best thing that you can do is really have good health, and that really starts with what you're eating. So we were all on lockdown. I was on lockdown. My colleagues were on lockdown. Everybody's scrambling for hand sanitizer and toilet paper and these kind of things and canned goods, and just everyone's at home. And 42% of Americans have gained weight since this pandemic started because people are stuck at home. A lot of people have not been able to exercise. Gyms have closed down. I was fortunate enough for my gym to go virtual, so I was working out actually more since we've been on lockdown. But a lot of people, their gyms were closed down, and we have the gym rats, or people that go to the pool and they can't do those things. There's a national bicycle shortage right now. I've been trying to get a bicycle for a couple of weeks now. Yeah, because people are going out, and at least they couldn't, with the lockdown, you could at least go take a walk, or they were allowing people to ride bikes, so bikes are now sold out. So with those things, people are trying to, stay sane. They're trying to stay sane, and they're trying to do what they can to be healthy. And so that's what really led me to contribute to this cookbook. Is I have so many healthy recipes from years of eating well, and I really enjoy cooking. And not only does the book have healthy recipes, but there are also health articles that are going to be educational for you and your family. So there's something in there for everyone. You don't have to be a vegetarian to utilize this cookbook. We have meat recipes. We have some sea moss recipes. Sea moss is real popular right now. Everybody's into that because of Dr. Sabi passing, and that message has gotten out there. So we've got a couple of sea moss recipes. We've got all kinds of things in the book, and I'm so proud of it. I'm very proud of it.
Well, that's going to be my next question. You talk about families and your cookbook. When you have children, one thing that goes into their mind is taste.
Mm-hmm.
So, so explain to me how well can your cookbook help with impossible children?
Yes, children can be impossible. Actually, my background, I spent 5 to 6 years in direct clinical practice as a pediatrician. So pediatrics and family medicine is my specialty, also weight loss and weight management. So there are all kind of tricks to get your kids to eat healthy food. One thing is that kids like bright colors. They like shapes. That's where you have you bake cookies with your kids and they have like the heart shaped cookie cutters and those kind of things. So the thing with kids is to make it fun, put it in brightly colored cups. So we've got some smoothies in there. Of course, babies are born with a natural sweet taste for sweet, so they like sweet things. So the kids will like the smoothies that are in the book. I think just making it bite-sized, making it when you're doing vegetables and things like that for the kids, a nice dip for them, and cutting them into shapes. And there's all kind of little tricks. Also, hiding food and sauces. So say you want your kid to eat vegetables, you make spaghetti. I don't know any kid that doesn't like spaghetti. So you hide the vegetables in the spaghetti sauce, or you puree the vegetables in a blender and then add that to the spaghetti sauce. And so then that way they're still getting the fiber, they're still getting the nutrients of those vegetables, but they can't taste it. So there's all kind of tricks with kids. So there's something in there for the kids too.
Awesome. So now my next question, a little bit more serious. I keep my family inside. I don't let my family go anywhere unless they have to. And my wife has asthma, so I really don't let her go anywhere. I'm the only one that actually leaves the house.
Mm-hmm.
What would you, in other words, what would you suggest that I do to keep my immune system, keep my immune system strong enough when I do leave the house and come back, I'm still me, or at the same level I am?
Well, one thing is to eat healthy, and that's a huge thing, because even though people take over-the-counter vitamins, and over-the-counter vitamins are great, all the research has shown that we absorb the majority of our vitamins through our food. Even if you took a vitamin C supplement, which is great, which I take a vitamin C supplement. I advocate for people to do things like that. However, your body is going to absorb the vitamin C that's in a strawberry more efficiently than it would in a pill. So really, food is really the main thing. On an individual level, we work with people individually on things that can help them and benefit their immune system. But they've been selling out of vitamin C, they've been selling out of vitamin A, vitamin D, all these immune formulas. I mean, especially like in March and April and the height, I had to go to 5 or 6 stores just to get the cheap vitamin C, not even the good stuff. So yeah. So I'm glad to see things starting to be on the shelves now. You can go to the stores and actually find things that you're looking for.
Well, my thing is now I'm looking at things. I'm trying to find a way to wean myself off of pills, because right now one thing I have wean myself off of pills, medication. So I'm trying to find foods that will help me, vegetables, fruits, juices. I'm trying to find those things. Is that possible to wean yourself off medication completely?
Well, I have taken, weaned patients off of medication. It's really best to do it with a licensed clinical provider who studied that, and that's where your naturopath comes in. You do have your lay herbalists who may not have that medical training of working with drugs, and some of them act within their scope. As a naturopathic doctor, because I'm trained on both, in Arizona, I'm able to prescribe medications, and because I have that training, under certain circumstances, yes, I have taken people off of medications. Under certain circumstances, it's not appropriate to take them off of medications. There have been circumstances where I've helped to reduce the amount of medications that people have, because medications can come with side effects, and the more medications that you're on, the more potential there are for side effects. So sometimes, just like for instance for diabetes is reversible early on in diabetes is reversible. And so with diet and exercise, and this is the stance of the American Diabetic Association, you don't even have to subscribe to holistic health or alternative health and those beliefs, but even the American Diabetic Association talks about the fact that you can reverse certain things with weight loss and nutrition and making those interventions. Later on in the disease process, when people have their sugars have just been going for so long, and it starts to damage the kidneys and damage the eyes and damage other parts of the body, it's not reversible because there's just so much sugar floating around. But earlier on, it can be reversed, and I've seen stories of people reversing things like that. So it's really, medicine is individualized. There isn't a panacea for every person. You can't say, hey, I can do this with this for everybody. It doesn't work that way, because everybody has a unique set of dietary habits, genetics, trauma that's contributing to illnesses. So I really subscribe to individualized medicine.
Awesome, awesome. Now back to your book for a second.
Mhm.
With everything, so with all the recipes in your book, can this get me to where you're just talking about to where I can, by the time all this is over, if I, if I stay within the guidelines of your book, may not be 100%, but can I be at a level to where I'm at a certain health level?
You said you're what now?
Let's see, not 100%, but if I follow all the guidelines of your book, I can be at a certain health level to where I'm not, where I'm not sick, or I can't be sick, or my immune system is powerful enough where I can't be sick.
Well, I can't say individually what would happen with you because I don't know your health history and your current health issues. So I have to say that as a conscientious physician. But what I can say is by increasing your antioxidants and nutrients and vitamins in the type of eating that's present that our book represents, that can definitely help to improve your health for sure.
Awesome, awesome. So, what kind of recipes do you have? What kind of, yeah, what's some of
We've
your,
got some smoothie recipes. We've got, like I said, some things with sea moss. I love African and Caribbean cooking. So I believe that the majority of my recipes are African and Caribbean because the traditional African diet specifically, they've done some studies on the West African diet, though they have studied that group, and I can't remember when that study came out, but people who subscribe to that diet, they have decreased diabetes, heart disease, all these chronic lifestyle illnesses compared to other places in the world. I mean, the whole world. And we're talking about developing countries where people might not even have access to surgery and surgery centers or the type of advanced medications that are present in the developed world, but they have a much better health outcome with these chronic lifestyle illnesses that Americans are just taking us out by because of that healthy diet. And as people of African descent, during slavery, we not only were we taken out of Africa and our skills and resources and things were taken out of Africa, our cooking was taken out of Africa and spread all over the world. So they have their version of collard greens. I eat Ethiopian food all the time. They have, I believe it's called gomen. If it's not for my Ethiopian people who are watching, if I got it wrong, I don't have the right name for it, but they have a collard green dish that they have in Ethiopia. That's East Africa. In West Africa, they have a dish that they do with greens. Then you get to Jamaica, and they have a dish with their green is called callaloo. So when we were enslaved, when we were coming into the new world, we didn't have access to some of the fruits and vegetables that were in Africa, but we looked for the closest thing to it. So they figured out how to make that callaloo and make it as close to the African tradition as possible. And I enjoy that whenever I go to New York. And one of my favorite places in Brooklyn, they have callaloo and saltfish, and they have that for breakfast, And that's like a spinach, kind of like a spinach, like a collard green, and I've learned how to make it at home. And then of course you get to the American South, and you have grandma's collard greens and mustard greens, and those greens are very healthy. I don't know people's grandmothers, when they started to get sick, they would make them drink the pot liquor. That's nothing but vitamins. So we have those traditions, all of that have come from Africa. So I'm really into that type of cooking. My colleagues have their different, one of my colleagues has a Filipino chicken and rice recipe in there. We have all kinds of recipes, something for everyone, very tasty things. I'm just astounded at some of that. I'm like, oh, I got to try some of these. There's some desserts in there. There's all kind of fun stuff. And our recipes are not super labor intensive. My recipes, I think on average, take 30 minutes to prepare. So they're not like, oh, you've got to do this for 2 hours and bake this and let this rise. Because people aren't going to do that. If it's not relatively quick or simple, people aren't really going to do it. They're not going to eat it. They'll be ended up at the fast food places.
Well, I know this is a serious interview, but I'm going to tell you, at the cook in the family, I'm going to get your book, and I want to actually try a recipe. And I love to cook. I love cooking new things. So
Excellent.
I'll definitely get your book. So you're not doing anything to making me hungry right now. Yeah.
And speaking of my book, you can get my book at www.drcharmbook.com, and that's DRCHARM book.com. We're doing it, it's $24.95. It's on pre-sale right now. And then we have an ebook that's also on Amazon. Right now, we are #1 on Amazon in about 5 categories. So under new releases, healthy cookbooks, under naturopathic, and also food and wine. So we're #1 on the ebook in multiple categories. So I'm so proud of that, so excited about that, because people really are taking their health seriously, and I'm glad to be able to contribute to them making those good changes.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So, so you mentioned earlier how a lot of restaurants and different places are now doing the vegan. How does that make you feel? Where, like you said, 20 years ago, you know, they
I'm
weren't
telling you,
doing that.
I'm thrilled, because one of the main thing that brought me into practicing integrative medicine and studying it is that I was vegetarian for 7 years, back in the South, because I'm from Houston, Texas, in the 90s, the late 90s. Vegetarian in the South is, when I say it's an anomaly, I mean, I would go to family gatherings and I said, I'm not eating meat. And they say, well, we got some vegetarian for you. Just go on in there, move that fat back out to the side of them greens, and just get the greens out. And there you go. You got some vegetarian to eat. So, oh yeah. The South is, especially around that time, was super pork down. Everything was pork, fried up, and so it was very interesting to be a vegetarian during that time. And so I really started to lean towards international foods, because so many, being from Houston is such an international city. We have people there from everywhere, from Vietnam, we have many people from West Africa, Nigeria. Actually, there are more Nigerians in Houston than there are in New York, so in any part of the country. So we have people from just Central America, South America, just all the Middle East, a lot of a huge Indian and Pakistani community. So especially with those type of cultures, they, there's not a lot of meat eating in some of those cultures, or specifically pork eating. But as a vegetarian, and I was Muslim at the time, I really had to go international to be able to get a lot of meatless dishes. And so that kind of opened my palate, it opened my horizons, just made me more interested in meeting people from other cultures. So it was very eye-opening for me, becoming a vegetarian. And so now people, they say that, the average person, especially millennials and that age, people love eating out ethnic now. It wasn't such a huge thing back then when I started all this, but now everybody, we'll have Indian food today, or we'll have African food on Wednesday, and we'll have Vietnamese food on Thursday. So that's what people like to do now. But back then it wasn't like that. And I really, they have a veggie burger on a menu. I think I remember the only place that I could get a veggie hamburger was the McDonald's in Times Square. And that was in like 99.
That's like the McDonald's. Wow.
Yeah, but it was in New York, of course, in Times Square, and it was like the only one in the country. So now you have, I think KFC is about to get a Beyond Fried Chicken nugget. So I think it's really cool. I mean, those aren't necessarily the healthiest things, but for people who are trying to transition and lower their saturated fat and try to just take their meat off of their palate a few days a week, off their plate a few days a week, I think it's nice for people who are transitioning.
Okay. Now my next question is, and basically I want you to clear up a rumor for me. I'm not sure if it's a rumor or not, but and comedians joke about it all the time as well. In America, well, in countries like West Africa, where the food is natural and everything, once we get over here, that's where we get the food allergies and things like that. But they come from unhealthy eating habits. Food allergies like lactose intolerance and aversion to certain beef or whatever. Is that due to our eating habits here?
Well, I think the current health status in America is a combination of increase in food processing and increase in ready prepared type foods, but it's also lifestyle. And so there's a condition called, and I learned about this when I was, my bachelor's degree is in nutrition. There's a condition called immigrant syndrome. And so you'll have immigrants who immigrate to America from other countries who have no issues with weight, have normal height for weight, and that once they were exposed to the American diet, they put on all this weight. Because they feel like, oh, if I eat the McDonald's hamburger, that makes me more American and I want to assimilate, and I don't want to eat my traditional food. And so they gain weight. But also you have also a similar thing that happens where they may eat the exact same foods in the exact same quantities that they do in their native countries and still gain weight, because there's such with processed food, there are a lot of antibiotics, and those things will make people gain weight. There are antibiotics that are in the meat supply, and some of the farm raising and how the animals are raised. For the people who are really into animal rights and things, so for people who are into the animal rights and things, there have been quite a few documentaries on what goes on some of those meat processing plants. But just even the fact that livestock is fed corn, that will make people gain weight, because normally in the olden days, a cow would graze on grass. So corn is a vegetable. Excuse me, I have a little allergies going on here. Corn is a vegetable, but it's a highly starchy vegetable. So when you feed chicken, chicken would normally eat corn feed, but when you feed cows corn, that actually increases the carbohydrate content of the meat, ironically, and that will contribute to this high carbohydrates that we see in diabetes, because carbohydrates are things that are, they're in rice and breads, and they're not bad, because sometimes people get into this whole thing, oh, carbs are bad. No, you have good carbohydrates. There's carbohydrates in vegetables, in cucumbers, in tomatoes and apples and pears. So we have good carbohydrates, we have bad carbohydrates, and we have just too much carbohydrate. And what happens when there's so much starch, you have, somebody may sit at a dinner and have steak with rice and then have potatoes on the side and a roll. That's too much carbohydrate or starch in one meal. And so that sets people up for problems with their blood sugar, to where you get to later on down the line diabetes. It's not just, people think diabetes is just from eating too much sweets, but that's not necessarily the case. It's eating too much carbohydrates out of balance from the other nutrients. So when you have like all these animals that are eating, they're being fed corn, that will contribute to weight gain. So a lot of the way that the food is produced in the United States, because we have over 300 million people in this country, and it's really produced for mass consumption and not necessarily for nutrition in many ways. And that makes it difficult. I went to Cuba in 2017, and we stayed in the Casa Particular, which is where you live in like an Airbnb with the Cuban, where there's somebody Cuban that can come and they're on the premises to help you. And we had the house ladies that will cook us this huge Cuban breakfast. Everything was so fresh, so organic. And we would get out and go exploring and go on the taxis and on the public transportation, eat a big breakfast at 10. And normally, in my normal day, by 1 o'clock, I'd be ready to have lunch. I wouldn't even get hungry until 4 o'clock.
Wow.
And that just lets me know, like, when you're exposed to food that is high in nutrients, in Cuba, they're not processing the foods like that. They're not spraying everything with pesticides like here. And so you're getting food that's really nutrient dense. When you're getting good nutrition and a lot of nutrients in your food, you're not as hungry. So a lot of people think that people who are overweight are, there's a lot of stigma about that, but a lot of people who are obese and overweight are actually in a starvation state. They are in a state of malnutrition because they're not really getting nutrition from their diet.
Okay. We got a couple more questions. Go ahead. We're going to say something else. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I got a couple more questions before we get to the end. My next question is, All right, we're saying all this sounds pretty, but the average viewer is like, okay, I can cook a little bit at home, but I still want to go out. But heck, there's a McDonald's over here, there's an Applebee's over there, there's a Burger King
Mhm.
down the street. Definitely don't want the Impossible Whopper. All this stuff around the corner. What do you say for the person who, what do you say to your super skeptics? I just put it like that.
I say substitute, substitute, substitute. Also have a free day. So if people are trying to make some changes, substitute. Okay, well I have I'm craving a Big Mac. I'm craving a hamburger. Okay, well, instead of going out and getting a fast food burger, make one at home. Make it with turkey. Make a turkey burger.
Mm,
I'm a fan of the George Foreman grill. I love those things because for me, it reduces some of the fat runs out. And then also it cooks everything faster because I'm always on the go. So substitute. Um, have your okay, you want to have a burger and french fries, maybe have a burger and salad and make yourself a turkey burger. I would also say have a free day. So you want to do some healthier eating during the week, maybe designate Fridays as a day you go and get whatever you want to eat. Okay. I'm one for, well, maybe I'm craving a banana split. Okay. Have some yogurt and see how you feel, or get some the non-dairy ice cream and see how you feel. So there's a lot of ways to substitute and make some of those changes. Another thing too is a lot of times they feel hungry when they're really thirsty, so they may be dehydrated and the body doesn't really, your mouth's just like, I just want something. So see if you're really hungry, if you're feeling hungry, drink some water. And if after you drink water after 10 or 15 minutes, if you're still hungry, that means you're hungry. But a lot of times people are actually thirsty and they're not getting enough water, especially because it's summer.
so now my the final question for you is, well, no, I have one more question before I get to you. I'm sorry. One more question. All right. So we get your book on Amazon. Is there anywhere else? Are you in stores anywhere?
My book, the Amazon is the ebook, but I want you all to have a physical copy of this book because with the cookbook, it's cool to look at on the phone, but you want to have where you can just really get your hands on it. And I am
Okay.
autographing. Yes, I'm autographing every copy of the book. This book is a collector's item. I am writing more books, so this is an opportunity for everyone out there to get a collector's item written by 12 Black female healthcare providers, holistic healthcare providers. Where do you see that at? Okay, that I think is amazing, amazing, and so empowering. My book is available at www.drcharmbook.com. That's DRCHARMBOOK. We're in pre-order. Just know if you go in this week and get it, it's going to take a few weeks. It's on pre-sale, but I'm autographing every copy. $24.99, an amazing price. It's a beautiful 8.5 by 11 book. I wish I had a copy to show you right now, but I'm still waiting on to get my hot little hands on the printer. But this is a great opportunity to support our causes. We're everyone is supporting Black business right now. I'm a Black owned business. Hello, my sisters that wrote the book with me are a Black owned business. So we want to support one another. And this is an investment in your future, in your body, in your health, and your family to have some healthy alternatives. Because people say, well, healthy cooking, it doesn't taste good. I guarantee you that you open up our book and you're going to find something tasty in there because I don't eat bland. I am from Houston, Texas. I'm from the South, and we put the flavor on it. We put all the good stuff. I mean, this is down here. We're next door to Louisiana, and half the folks in Houston are are from Louisiana, or half folks in Louisiana. Everybody got people in Louisiana. So I grew up eating boudin and etouffee and all those things, and I love my Caribbean. All these dishes have African origins too. So the food is tasty. A sister is not gonna put anything in there that you look at and say, ooh, no, it's not seasoned. No. Our food is seasoned. So invest in this book, www.drcharmbook.com.
See, that is so beautiful. That is like so amazing. Because see, a quick story if I give you my last question. I have a friend who I'm actually about a second copy for her. she's a friend of mine who loves cook her. She has 4 boys who loves her cooking. She's a vegan cook as well. But she always want to learn more recipes. And she only been a vegan for maybe about a year and a half. So
Hmm.
what do you say for the newbie vegan who just wants to just convert? Because her boys are converted. Her boys range from
Hmm.
age of 5 to 16.
Well, they say that the fastest growing group of vegetarian and vegan in the country is African American people. So that's very interesting. But I would say when I started out being a vegetarian, I just bought as many cookbooks and tried out new recipes and cookbooks. I actually still have one of my first cookbooks from when I became a vegetarian at age 17, and I spent 7 years as a pure vegetarian. Now, before and I mean not even fish. So it was 7 whole years, and I know, and during that time, I would only get sick 2 days out of the whole year.
Mm.
So I still follow. I'm not vegetarian now. I do. I've christened it cyclical vegetarianism. So I may go a month without eating meat, and then I'll eat meat. I may go a couple of weeks on fish, and then go back on meat. I just go back and forth. And I think what people can do. Veganism is not for everybody, and I don't think it's recommended for everyone. But for people who are trying to be healthier, you definitely reducing your meat intake. So just taking a free day, like, hey, if I eat meat for breakfast, maybe don't have any for lunch or have a vegetarian dinner. Those things will help reduce saturated fat in the diet, can help lower cholesterol because you're kind of taking a break. And meat is very hard on the digestive system. It really is because it takes much longer than vegetables to digest. So whenever I do go off of meat, I definitely have to eat more often
Right.
because it just doesn't sit there. Those vegetables are moving and grooving, and it's easier to digest. So for people who are just getting started out and they just want to transition, I think that's why it's really cool that they have the Impossible Whopper and the Impossible Burgers, because some people, those kind of products are geared towards people who are transitioning and they still like the taste of it. But I tell you what, for me, the longer I go without meat, the more I don't even want it. It's very interesting. Just I don't know if it's the psychology of it or not, but yeah, but just getting good cookbooks is amazing. I think that's a huge thing, and trying different food, different cultures, foods. I love you can never not go to an Indian restaurant and not find anything vegetarian, because part of the religious makeup of India is Hinduism, and there's a certain branch of Hindu where they're not allowed to eat any meat. Those the strict Hindus, they can't kill any cows. They can have milk, but they can't kill cows. So you cannot go wrong going to an Indian restaurant if you're a vegetarian and you're like, oh, I need something to eat right now, and I'm trying to find something. Hit the Indian buffet. So
Mm.
yeah.
I was the only one in college that actually did that. I mean, two favorite restaurants there on my block. There was an Indian restaurant, there was an Ethiopian restaurant. Always there.
Mm-hmm.
Love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in Ethiopian, they have quite a few vegetarian dishes. They have misirwad, which is the lentil stew made with the berry. They have the greens. They have the carrots with the green beans. So they have a nice amount of vegetarian dishes. And then for the people who like gluten free, the bread that the Ethiopians make that looks like a sheet of paper, it's injera. That's actually a gluten free grain. So that's pretty cool for people who are into the gluten free lifestyle.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So now we're going to get to where I give our authors the final word. Any advice, any shout out, anything you want to say, the floor is yours.
Buy my book, support Black business, get your health right, increase your cooking game. For people who don't know how to cook, the recipes are so simple, so don't be afraid. www.drcharmbook.com. Personally autographed collector's item in the making.
See, at the end of the day, she's a Southern gal. She don't. I mean, she keeps it real. I mean, like she said, she'll eat meat after a minute, but then she'll take a break. But main thing is flavor. Flavor, flavor, flavor. Don't ever think because we're talking about vegan cooking, it doesn't have flavor. Shout out to a friend of mine, LaRon Jones, who I'm gonna make sure she gets her own cooking, her vegan cooking show. But she's a friend of mine who's also a vegan cook who has her own group of businesses, and she hopes to have her own vegan restaurant one day. So shout out to you, my friend. Hopefully, I can have a talk with you on the Author's Corner soon. So, when we come back, we're going to talk about books, politics, and three faces of honey. Stay tuned.
You know, even after 20 years, readers are still captivated with How to Lose a Black Woman. Now, in its second printing, follow the story of Bruce Williams. Shall I say, mild-mannered school teacher in search of love? Using social media, prayer, and a lot of trial and error, Bruce fights to learn what a true relationship is all about. Filled with original poetry by H.D. Campbell, it's a lesson from one young man's point of view. Buy How to Lose a Black Woman on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Smashwords, in your favorite bookstore, and even on his website at www.hdcampbell3.com. And as always, let your writing fuel your spirit. By Late Murder at 10 by H.D. Campbell. Former investigative reporter Mark Alexander thought his life hit a slump when a mass shooting results in the murder of a controversial news anchor. Can Mark get out of his head long enough to crack this case? Well, I'm not going to tell you. You'll have to get your own copy of Late Murder at 10 on Amazon.com and coming soon to your favorite bookstore.
Welcome back. Honey, Allison Barrera. Allison Honey, whatever you want to call her, she's amazing. She's a wonderful author, a wonderful wife, a wonderful mother, a wonderful cook. She comes from a great political family. We can have conversations about politics for days. She even has her own show, the Absolutely Our Show, in which I hope to be a guest on pretty soon. Which is a very good show, and they get down on some topics. I'm telling you. So here she is. Why don't you get to know
I'm three people. So my government name is Allison Randall Berewa.
her?
And I write Christian fiction under that. But that's not my main. Honey is my main person, and she's signed to Honey is signed to Urban Books, which is Carl Weber's imprint under Kensington Book Corporation, and is distributed by Penguin Random House. And Jermaine Solomon, who only writes interracial romance, is also signed to the same.
Awesome. Now, do you mind? I want to delve into all three personalities too when we do the interview as well. So first, I want to start with what mainly got you interested in writing in the first place.
Well, actually, I've been writing since I was 7, and my second grade teacher gave us an assignment to write about why we celebrate Easter. I was 7 now, and we just had to write an essay. I wrote an essay, and she started crying, and she was like, "You wrote this by yourself because you were sitting right here. You wrote it." And she told me then, "You are gifted." And later on, the following year, third grade, we had a similar experience where we had projects about writing books. She was teaching us components of writing, characters, setting, plot, and we would write books. I was 8 years old, and my third grade teacher, Anne Mariah Dominguez, came to me and said the same thing. She said, "I need to meet your parents." So the TA meeting came up right after that, and she made a beeline to my parents and told them she is not normal. No child writes like this. So I was supposed to go off to school, fast forwarding to 1986, and major in creative writing or journalism. Saw the syllabus at Florida A&M University where I attended, and was like, it was just too disciplined. Was then, and am now a freelance writer. Don't prompt me, don't put me in a box because it won't be great. It'll be okay. Let me write what I want to write. So creative writing that's where I need to be.
Yeah,
I did major in writing. I did history and taught for a while. I did social work, but I'm retired now and I write full time. I write full time for the publishing that I told you, and I edit full time.
Awesome, awesome. Now, before I get into my next question, I don't know what is it about the teacher, one teacher that always has a heart attack when you give them something that. Because the same thing happened to me, and like, fall out the chair. Oh my God, you wrote this?
Right.
And then I'm almost certain. I'm just gonna predict you pass this on to your child because basically same thing happens with Same thing happened with Skylar. That one teacher at the PTA meeting, like, I don't know how he got this. You right? So like
I
I'm
know.
you know him. So yes, so it is just plain made. It's awesome. I just put it
Right.
away. So my next question for you is: so how do we get to writing professionally?
Okay, so before I decided to go ahead and write my first novel, I stayed busy writing political speeches for political candidates in Georgia, where I'm from. Starting with my dad and my sister, who both, are politicians, and their friends. I would either write their speeches for them or edit the speeches they had written. I was always called upon in church and on my job. If you need something to be written, Allison is your girl. So I got paid for those. But my novel, it wasn't until I was retired. I retired in 2000. Yeah, 2000. Due to medical issues. And I just sat down and said, now's the time. God, you have my attention now. I avoided it, in college, whatever. So, and I just wrote my first novel, and it was a Christian family saga, drama, women's fiction type of book. And I self-published it. And from there, it just blew up. And so I ventured off into Honey, who writes anything but Christian fiction, if you get what I mean. And of course, Jermaine Solomon, under which I only write interracial romance.
Wow. So how did you branch off into different genres like that? How did you do that?
It was always in me, but I really, really, really wanted to do Christian fiction. But the money is not there as it ought to be. And like I said, I self-published it, but the other side of me was always existed too, but I just, tried it second. So when Honey first dropped her first book, I knew I need to stick with this. And I was editing for a publisher, and I was editing a lot of interracial romance, and it sucked. Those girls couldn't write. So I said, you know what? If I can edit it and correct theirs, let me do it. So as I explained to my father, who is not happy about me having all these different names, Allison can't write a Honey book. Right. Honey can't write a Jermaine Solomon book. So I had to change the names up to market myself, of course, first and foremost, and to put myself in the right headspace to write in the particular genre I was attacking at the moment.
You're like the ultimate superhero. You have 3 secret identities. I love that.
Yeah, my son says that also. Yeah. That's why I'm under the brand of. I created the brand actually, 3 Faces of Me, because if you want to be technical, that's 3 people. So 3 Faces of Me is the brand under which all of the writers inside of Allison write. So my website is 3 Faces of Me. My logo, the company under which my weekly variety show is produced under is 3 Faces of Me. So I had to do something to let people, to kind of break it down so people won't get confused and they can understand.
Right. So my next question is, and I know a lot of people want to know, how did you get writing under my man Carl Weber?
Okay, so Pampered by Jermaine Solomon was released initially under Blake Carrington Presents. It did so well, which I knew it would do. After it was sold, he's a boutique African-American publisher. And I love Carl. I love Blake, and he did well with me. He had to hook up with Carl because he writes for Carl, although he owns his own publishing company. And he said, this is the book that you need to put on the shelves. I can only take it so far. And that's what happened. He presented the book to Carl Weber, and Jermaine Solomon got contract. Then my agent told me, no, we got to get this 3-book deal. I'm going to picture the Carl Weber too. But this was Honey. So my agent got me to hook up with Urban Boots, Carl Weber, and the rest is history. And I love writing for him, especially because he allows me to be myself.
I'm going to break off for just a second.
Okay.
Just say you are an example of no excuses, no. You have every once in a while. Well, I just don't have time, and I've got children, and as I came up, it's like I'm married with Skylar and stepchildren and everything, and I still find time to write and do this show, and so I mean it's very refreshing. You can find somebody else that can actually write without the excuses, without saying I don't have time, and still be successful.
You got to make it do what it do. You got to make it happen if that's really what you want to do. I'm a wife, mother, singer, songwriter, stage play producer, variety show host, and I know you know from my Facebook post that I cook like nobody's business.
Yes.
And I just make the time to do it. Sometimes my schedule looks crazy and I'm tired. Sometimes I feel like I'm crazy, but I've been taught whenever you want to make something happen, you do whatever it takes. You reorganize, you reprioritize, you do whatever it takes to make it happen. And you have to make sure you communicate with your core, which is my family, my husband and my son. Look, I tell my husband, those clothes don't have to wait. They can stay in that basket for a minute. I have a deadline. And I'll say, hey, you can't have gourmet meals today, a great house today, and toe curl and sex tonight. You're going to have to pick what you want today, because
exactly.
there's only 24 hours in the day. And I want to excel and be great at everything that I take on. So sometimes, you definitely have to communicate. You have to tell your son, listen, Mama can't do that today. Can you do it by yourself? It's hard sometimes, but if you want it to make it happen, do whatever it takes to make it happen.
Oh yeah, it's all about priorities. Get priorities right, you're definitely good.
Right.
Now, I want to talk about before we get into your titles. You named some other stuff on your resume: play producer, songwriter. Tell me about some of them. But how did you break out so?
Singing is my first love. I've been a singer all my life. I have sung at over 1,000 weddings, probably 2,000 funerals, and I've done it all. Songwriting is just like natural. I don't know. I've been writing songs all my life as well. So I actually started singing before I ever started writing. Ventured off to the stage play. Back in 2011, when I released my first book, which was Secrets of Love and Redemption by Honey Berewa.
Ooh, I like the cover.
Self-published. Somebody walked up to me 2 weeks later and said, I read your book in one night. I'm going to make a play out of it. I was like, okay, thank you. Let me know. Fast forward to 2019. She came with the script. It was 8 years later. Her name was Dr. Diane Hollins from Macon, Georgia. And we did 3 shows sold out this past March, right as the pandemic began to really engulf America. 3 shows at the historic Douglas Theater in Macon, Georgia, sell out. All 3 shows, very successful, and I produced it.
Wow.
And so we have some follow-ups, some things getting ready to happen. We even got some movie in the works as soon as Corona's open on other books. So that's how I got into the stage play production business.
So, can we talk about the movies yet, or no?
Talk about what?
Can we talk about the movies yet, or no?
We'll wait. I'll come back and talk about it.
Okay, please come back. Come back. Definitely come back and talk to it, guys.
I will.
So you get drop a bomb like that and not detonate it. You see what I'm saying?
had to mention to be on the BOL, be on the lookout. BOLO. Yeah.
I'll accept that. That's cool. No problem. So I want to go through each of your secret identities. Let's go into your government name. Tell me about your Christian title.
Okay. So I only have 2 Christian titles. I know that sounds bad because I started off with that, but no money, you don't want to invest a lot of time and energy in something that does not bring you the greater success. So Christian fiction is still dear to my heart. So Secrets of Love and Redemption by Alison Randall Berewa. And also Forsaking All Others by Alison Randall Berewa. Both books did exceptionally well. And I'm going to go back. I have some other books that I've written under Christian fiction, but I haven't put them out there yet. My agent is going to pick them up, and she's going to run with them. It's so great to have an agent. That took me forever to get, but I have a great agent, and she does her job. So I will do some more Christian fiction. Will be coming out of my camp. It'll probably be after Corona. Lets us go.
All right, let's get into my girl Honey. What does she have?
Honey is my money. Honey, right now, what I'm really pushing for Honey is my Vex series.
Ooh.
This is Vex.
They cover too.
It's spicy, bro. I'm just gonna tell you. It's about, in short, a pair of professional African-American siblings, a brother and sister, who find themselves vying for the same woman. It's the sister's woman.
Oh.
But when her brother visits the couple in Jamaica, where his sister is managing a 5-star resort, she has this young Honey that's living with her on the resort. He's visiting them from Atlanta to get some R&R, and he is smitten with Jill, his sister's lover. And he sees some things that his sister is still up to her same old tricks, being a very promiscuous woman with the women. And he has pity on her, but he doesn't touch her. He honors the code, doesn't touch her. But circumstances land his sister and her lover back in Atlanta in his home. And I'm not going to tell you anything else. But the first book was released this year, January 28th, of course, with Urban Books. Book 2 is coming out. That's Vex Twisted Faith. It's coming out November the 24th of this year. And I just got word that Vex 3, The Final Sin, will be released April the 27th of 2021. So both Vex 2 and Vex 3 are already up for pre-order on Amazon. So Honey's Vex series is a series like no other. You never heard of a love triangle like this.
I'll tell you what, I need to catch up. Because before the other one comes out, I need to read the first one. And expect a review. I want to read it. I'm going to give you a good review. So
you need to read this. In fact, we're having a virtual book club discussion on the 3 Faces of Me page on Facebook. This Thursday, August 27th at 7:00 p.m. People are reading it now, and we're going to do a virtual book club discussion Thursday, August 27th at 7:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on my 3 Faces of Me page. So join us for that.
Please tell me you're on Kindle, cause I'll have to cheat. I don't like to wait for my books to get here.
It's on Kindle. Vex 1 is on Kindle and audio.
Awesome.
So just go to Amazon. It's on audiobook, Kindle, and of course in paperback.
Awesome. Now give me your next. Who's your next person? Tell me about their books.
Jermaine Solomon. Jermaine Solomon only writes interracial romance.
Okay.
So Pampered, it's on audio, paperback of course, and ebook on Amazon right now, and it's an urban book too, and it's great. And she's also written a Christmas book, Hot Holiday Love by Pampered. It did very well. It came out in 2017, and also I just released a short story Jermaine Solomon did called Love Under. It's in my Love Under Quarantine series. Yes, I took advantage of the quarantine. And
Yeah.
it's called Feverish Love. It's the first book in my Love Under Quarantine series. It's only out in ebook because it's a short story. So what at the end of the 3-book series, I'll put all of them together in a paperback. But right now we got Feverish Love by Jermaine Solomon. Short stories. Woo!
I love that. So, okay, I always put authors on the spot like this, and I know these books are your children. But if you were to have a favorite, which one would it be? 'Cause these books are
No doubt it'll be something by Honey. Honey has written more books than anybody else. And I guess, to me, my favorite book by Honey is A Gentleman's Lady and A Bad Boy's Bitch.
Tell me about that one.
Oh my God. It came out October 2017. I wrote it for Jessica Watkins Presents. Jessica Watkins is out of Chicago, Illinois. She is a fabulous writer herself and a publisher. So I write and edit for her. It's about a pair of cousins who are the same age. They're Bishop's grandchildren, Bishop's grandsons, and they have been raised as brothers to do everything together. Business, whatever it is. They own a construction and architectural firm. And the one thing they've been told not to ever let anybody come between them, a woman comes between them.
Oh, here we go.
It's spicy. It's 99-cent ebook on Amazon, but it's also out of paperback. A Gentleman's Lady and A Bad Boy's Bitch by Honey. That is the bomb.
Oh, that's okay, because that's why I have a separate budget for books. My wife know, hey.
Yeah, it's my book money right here, baby.
Oh yeah, so
I got you.
Just going in the book budget. So there you go. So that is so cool. So
Right.
where do you get your ideas from? I mean, how do you get inspired just to write these TV stories?
Honestly, I try to write what nobody else is writing. If everybody's heading in that direction, I go totally in the opposite direction. I hate trends. I'm a trendsetter. Ain't nobody better. I'm a trendsetter. So I hopped on a quarantine deal real quickly, but I did my research, and everybody's story about the quarantine was everybody got caught locked up in the quarantine with somebody they fell in love with. So typical. My book ain't got nothing to do with that. It is quarantine based, but it's about 2 doctors treating patients in the COVID unit in Greater Memorial Hospital in Atlanta, and they hate each other. They're totally opposite, but something brings them together. So I get ideas by focusing on what is prevalent and what is trending and do the total opposite.
Yeah, I love that. See, I mean, it's all about the original. So here's my thing. Off topic for a second. You go into a typical bookstore and you find 1, 2, 5, 10 books of the same genre. I mean, same genre, same idea. Everybody hopped on the. How does that make you feel?
I guess I chalk it up to something I've heard from other authors and other publishers in the past, and basically all my life, is that no story is new. It's just told differently. I just don't agree with that.
I don't either.
I just don't agree with that, and I purposely, I consciously make sure that I disprove that myth every time I sit down and write a story.
Yeah, like you, I refuse to believe that. I've been told that ever since I've been writing. It's like, no, and why I tend to write different. I don't write any. So I guess that's why you and I are so close. When we talk,
Right, we click.
Right, because we do different from the norm.
Because I remember when I was writing Vex, and my beta readers were like, "Did you mean the brother? No, the sister." So I'm always, and I think if you visualize it, even when you're writing your printing, and you see that it's been done before, hey, let's change change a gender, change a age, change a race, just change it.
Right.
It's so simple.
Like you, like I say, it's good to see your own books in the stores, but when you see kind of the same, it doesn't discourage you, but it's kind of like this is still on the shelf like this,
Right.
and people are still, I'm not knocking whether you buy whatever you want to, but it's if
Right.
you want a different story, here it is.
Right. And that's what I did researching my love under quarantine. I'm telling you, everybody's story is somebody accidentally got locked in with somebody and they fell in love.
See. That, and it's like that stuff we joke about on Facebook. That stuff I've joked about on Facebook. Everybody knows that story. You're locked in with somebody that you're not with, but you secretly love, and you end up falling in love, and all that. Yeah.
Yep. I say stay away from the typical. And it's simple to just rearrange some stuff, change the gender. I mean, just small, minute things.
Well, how have your fans received you?
I have done well. I am so blessed. I can honestly say that I have a strong following. All three. I have 3 different Facebook pages and social media platforms for them. I separate them, but then 3 Faces of Me allows me to bring all of them together to just say, hey, all of them are me. I confess now, I'm all these people. And that allows them to be able to compare, to see the versatility that God has blessed me with. So, I'm separate, definitely all equal, but I'm able to reconcile all 3 of my inner authors into one through my 3 Faces of Me frame.
Awesome. Well, again, I'm very happy you wanted to come on my show, but now I want to flip the script on you. You have your own show, which, so please tell me about your show. And how does your show?
The Absolutely Al Show. I'm Allison, my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, the late Lillian Hudson Randall, Macon, Georgia, short named me Al when I was a little girl, and it just stuck. So if you really, really know me, you call me Al. So the Absolutely Al Show is social media's #1 urban weekly variety show. We cover an assortment of topics, everything from racism, politics, religion, the arts, COVID-19. We are about to broadcast our 10th show this coming Friday night at 10 o'clock. It comes on every Friday night without fail, 10 o'clock on my 3 Faces of Me page on Facebook, where we're getting 2,000 viewers a show. And it also premieres on YouTube for those people who are not social media, on social media. Like my parents, they watch on TV, that smart TV every Friday night at 10 o'clock. We have been so blessed. We have the Chocolate Diva Factory is the production team that puts it together. So it's not live, we pre-record, but it is great. We've had Travis Cure from Tyler Perry's The Oval. We've had 3 queens of Black lit: Brenda Jackson, the Black romance queen, Pamela Samuel-Young, who is the crime lit and legal thrillers queen, and Wahida Clark, who we all know is the street lit queen. So we've been blessed to have some amazing guests. Like I said, this coming Friday night, we're doing a political show with some candidates from, Georgia. And this will be our 10th show, and it is great. We have the Chocolate Diva Factory. Shout out to the baddest team of Black women on the planet. They produce the show.
Well, now you got one more viewer. Definitely one more viewer. So if I'm not, I can watch it on Facebook Live off of your page. But if I'm not savvy with social media, what's your YouTube handle?
Go on YouTube to Royalty Love Creations, or you can just simply search out the Absolutely Al Show. It'll pop up. Trust. Absolutely Al. It'll pop up, and you can see all of our shows that we've done, the 9 previous shows. You'll also see some, plug-ins, some advertisement, but it's on YouTube, and that's why my mom did. and my older aunts and uncles, they watch it every Friday night. And the viewership is great. It's growing. We give away prizes. We get deep. There's no topic that we are afraid of.
See, that's what I'm talking about. See, I love you just don't know. Again, I'm gonna start your radio show.
It is so funny because I was working on a whole other project. I think I was in the studio working on music.
Oh.
And I remember saying, I need to have a show just on Facebook Live, something regular. Just come on Friday night, let people can see, come on, we just share the screen. Our executive producer, somebody who I had worked with on the stage play, was like, "Now, write a theme song." I was like, "What? Write a theme song?" She kept saying. So she tricked me. Her name is Lanita Ples King. I wrote a theme song. Absolutely, wrote it, and she said, "Okay, that's for your new show," and it went from there. She tricked me, Lanita Ples King. I'm calling you out. She's the executive producer, technical director, and artistic director for the show. She is fabulous. So all those great graphics you see on the Absolutely Al show, all those sound effects and all that craziness, that is Miss Lanita Ples King from Macon, Georgia. She owns Royalty Love Creations, a great production company. It's multi-levels and departments. It is crazy, but she's the executive producer of my show.
That sounds like something that really needs to be syndicated. Man, if you can get syndicated, that would be so freaking awesome.
We're being courted.
Say it again?
We are being courted by.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
Just let that go. But just know that we were not looking for this. Basically, I'm telling you, HD, we were just trying to do something to occupy our time and to fill in a void on the time slot schedule on social media. Nothing goes on at 10 o'clock on Friday night. Nobody's going anywhere. So that's
now.
So that's how we end up 10 o'clock every Friday night. And it is, I mean, it's amazing how people have responded. But the thing that I'm hearing most is the quality of it. They say everybody's doing shows now, just sit on Facebook Live and ask questions. Here you are, y'all are just doing it. We record, we go through a vigorous editing process, and it's a great show. You saw it with the Queen on it the other night. It was no jump. We don't have mess. We do it.
Well, like I said, you already have a new viewer, so you ain't got to worry about me.
Thank you. You got to watch this coming Friday night because we have a mayoral candidate. We have judge candidates, DA candidates from Georgia, where you know our central base is. But we put twists and spins on stuff. We even had the mayoral candidate playing a game, a pop culture game.
Oh wow! I love that. Now, for those who don't know either of us, which all of y'all should know us by now, we're very
now. Come on.
Yeah, we're very political. So she's gonna have the best in political candidates on. But then you had me at the guy from the Oval. I love that show.
That was our third show, and I had to pitch myself to see how is this happening. It was our third show.
Wow.
In short, he also appeared in a short film by a friend of mine. Her name is Yasmin Neal of Charlie White Productions. She did Target Practice. So Viola Davis, the legendary Oscar Award-winning Viola Davis, saw her short film and posted it on Instagram, and it blew up.
Ooh.
And then Cynthia Bailey from the Real Housewives of Atlanta saw it. It just went crazy. So I called Yasmin. I say, "Girl, I need you to come on the show." She said, "Fine." She agreed to come on the show, and she said, "Should I bring Travis with me?" You better bring Travis.
Sure.
And he was like royalty. He treated us so great. He was so down to earth, and the show was major. Many views. People began to ask us, "Who you sleep with to get him on?" The film director, the writer, the director, the producer is my personal friend. She's also a political person. She's a state representative in Georgia. And, my hookup with that, she said, "Yeah, you want me to bring Travis too?" Yeah. And he was great. He was great.
one other thing, and I'm just gonna let people know, it's not a secret. If besides the fact that you're connected, it's always good being nice to people. That's one thing I was always taught when you grow when my mom used to teach me, and your parents taught you. Connections are one thing, but when you're good to people, blessings will always come to you.
Yeah. Just being polite. Yes, no, thank you, please. It gets you a long way. He point blank told everybody on the show by the end of the show, which we saved him for last because we had other filmmakers on. Um, he what? Hey, auntie. He was calling me auntie by the end of the show. Like, hey, I was talking about food. He's like, what about them oxtails, auntie? So, and we've maintained, since that show, and that was way back in June, and here we are in August, and things are just popping. We have, if you do the shows that we have lined up, August is booked, September we got a lot going on, and I just can't believe it. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it.
If it's only been your 10th show, you've already been courted, there's nothing I can do to push you over the edge. Just let me know, because I will help you. So like I say, you're doing everything, and man, you're doing everything but sleeping.
Man, I just thank God that I have the energy at my age of 52, which I'm not ashamed to say my age. I'm 52, baby. Look good, but I'm able to do it. I'm tired, yes. I get confused about this project on top of that project, and dates and all that. Sometimes miss deadlines or whatever. But I thank God that I have the will, the desire, and the support to make it all happen. Because you know how it is. It's hard out there for a pimp. It's hard.
So when everything lets up, do you plan on or are you doing any virtual events or eventing clears? Are you planning on doing any signings or any events or speaking engagements coming up?
Well, no, I can't say I am right now. My plate is kind of overflowing. Would I take on anything else? If something really piqued my interest to go in those different arenas, I would. But right now, I can honestly say, I think I'm okay right now that I don't need to do anything else. I need to make sure that Vex 3 is turned in after my publisher. I still got to make my husband happy. Still got to make sure my son is getting ready to transition into this virtual learning again. It's a transition because this is going to be his first year of high school, and I hate that he's not going to do it in person, but I don't know about other people's baby. I know how you feel about Skylar. Trust me, I know. I ain't going to gamble with my baby.
Me neither.
He's going to go to Al's Kitchen Academy. Yes.
He's going, and my son is going to HD's Academy. So
Exactly.
We are not playing.
I don't know why. See, these people must don't like their kids because I can risk $1 or $2. I might even bet you a book. But I ain't gonna gamble with my baby. He's all I have. I know that you only have one as well. I'm good. I'm good.
Well, see. Now I don't know if you saw in the news. Some Georgia schools have already started the in-person thing. Some kids have already gotten sick.
Already, and I just look because our governor is an asshole. I'm just gonna say it. He really is.
Yeah.
Brian Kemp is crazy, and he's doing Trump's bidding in Georgia, but it's affecting Georgians, and Trump does not have a conscience. So blood on his hands means nothing. But I couldn't sleep at night knowing that I'm putting other people's children in harm's way while the governor's mansion is closed to tours.
Exactly. Right. And this is another thing. The governor is more than likely homeschooling his child. Trump has actually said his son is being homeschooled, but you want everybody else's kids to go to school.
Yeah. And you have people who are part of his cult. I don't know any other way to describe it because I don't know how you can tell me one thing and it's proven that what you said is not true, and yet I follow you. You can do that one time, I might be okay. 2 times, I'm gonna look at you with the side eye. But 3 times, let me tell you something. You are a liar. I don't associate with liars because liars are scary. If you lie, who knows what else you'll do. So I don't understand his following. Therefore, I can only label them as a cult. But they follow this man, hang on to his every word, and proclaim it gospel, and that is scary as hell to me.
Quick question on that, by the way. Because I actually had to talk to a couple of friends of mine who are like you, who were very unnerved by it. But you guys, unlike me, have a lot more patience. What do you do for those you'll see on the wall that you know Trump has lied, and they'll just accept it, and then everybody else is crazy except them and Trump? I mean, what do you have the urge to respond to them? Does it make you upset, or do you just ignore them?
I think it's funny as hell. I think it's funny because I know that there is going to be a post-Trump era, and history will not be kind to a lot of people. And I'm just going to sit back, eat some popcorn, and sip on some Coke, and watch you try to dig yourself out of it.
Yes.
I just want to see how they dig themselves out of the hole that he has put them in. And my August 21st show is going to be one of those shows where you will meet a person like that. We will be August 21st show of the Absolutely Al show will feature Mr. Vernon A. Jones, a state representative, a black state representative who I know personally, who served in the House of Representatives with my father and my sister. He is a black Trump supporter. He's a Democrat, represents a very black district in DeKalb County in the Atlanta suburb, and he is a Trump supporter. Just appeared on Fox and Friends last Saturday morning. Donald Trump retweeted him, and he thought it was an honor. He's been to the White House since then. He thought that was an honor. He's going to be on the Absolutely Al show with two other people. It'll be our first panel. We've not had a panel yet. He's going to go to a panel with people who do not like Trump, Bishop Talbot Swan of Springfield, Massachusetts, and attorney LaDawn Blackett Jones. They're going to be on the show, and we titled that segment Political Pandemonium for a reason. So you don't want to miss that.
You need to remind me of that, please.
I will. I'll remind you.
Also, too, just a crazy question. A black Democratic Trump supporter, how does that work for your district?
I equate a black Trump supporter to a roach who loves rain.
Wow.
I mean, because the things that comes out of his mouth, regarding black people, people of color, but especially black people, they're racist comments. Sons of bitches when you are peacefully protesting. Now everybody's protesting, but you didn't hear us when we wanted to take a silent knee. But you hear us now.
Right.
I bet you hear us now.
Well, just yesterday, Missouri made history because a person who was just labeled as a Black Lives Matter supporter and a protest leader just became the first black female.
I saw it.
Yep. In Congress from Missouri.
And she beat a long time incumbent.
Yes. 10 years.
Whose father also occupied that seat at one time. So
yes.
Things are happening. People, you might as well get ready for change, because the time that we're living in now, these young people are not going to be like us. We have protested in our own way. Our fathers and mothers did in their own way, and our forefathers before them also did. But this new wave of African Americans, these young progressives, they're not our ancestors. They're not afraid. They will go.
Oh, they'll tell you in a minute. We're not our parents. We're not our grandparents. We will.
We ain't like y'all. They say it. We ain't like y'all. They say we were scared. We weren't scared. I just think that to each era, each time frame, there was a way to do it. It worked differently. Martin Luther King chose to be nonviolent and to hit the street. Um, my era, we took it a little further. Um, we hit them at the ballot box. We boycotted their businesses.
See, I told you. I look when I tell you I bring the interviews. I bring the interviews. I mean, there's just no stopping these are when we get a conversation going, it's going to be this conversation. But also, I want you to stay tuned this Thursday, where me and Honey Berewa are going to have continued conversation, where we're going to give our take on the political election that's coming up and the current of the politics. Oh, it's going to be raw and uncut, so stay tuned for that. So when we come back, we're going to have my 2 cents. But first, here's coming up next on next week's Author's Corner.
Just who is author H.D. Campbell? He's the multi-gene author who can take you on several trips at once. With H.D. Campbell, you can have a romance, you can track a killer, or even stop an international incident. For 30 years and still writing, H.D. Campbell will take you on trips you've never been before. Learn more about him by logging on to hdcampbell3.com or check him out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, and LinkedIn. Read his rewrites of How to Lose a Black Woman and Late Murder at 10 with a new title coming soon. And as always, let your writing fuel your spirit. Coming soon, the second printing of the Sergeant Wise Guy Chronicles, reintroducing you to a special agent, Sergeant Wise Guy, the government's top strategics and agent with a very sarcastic tongue. A former ranger, he heads up a team of specialists taking care of missions too big or too messy or other agents don't want to handle. His first mission takes him to Paris, where a stolen Cold War nuclear warhead was discovered. While discovering the warhead's origin, a lost dead love resurfaces. Can Sergeant Wise Guy resolve both before the secret plans for the warhead is complete? Well, check out the second printing of the Sergeant Wise Guy Chronicles, coming soon.
Today, I want to delve away from fiction for a minute and the writing genre and go straight into journalism. In this political season where tempers are getting heated, things are kind of slanted, this really needs to be said. Facts need to be checked. The reason I say facts because facts are just what they are. There are no such thing as your facts, my facts. Facts are facts. You always got to check your sources. No matter on what side you're on, whoever you are, your sources mean a lot. Your sources are actually what keeps your reputation going. My biggest pet peeve is when someone challenges facts with their own opinion. When a fact is a brick wall, when you hit it, stop because you're going to bang your head. You're going to really hurt yourself. Don't get involved with too many political arguments where you know that there are lies and people believe the lies. Just show them your sources and walk away. If they don't want to take your sources as truth, then that's on them. Don't run your blood pressure up. While mine is somewhat brought up, because I say this from experience that I need to make a few changes for this political realm because I've seen myself getting into too many political arguments over nothing, and it costs. I mean, it costs a lot. But one thing I do say, however, is you must respect others. Now, one thing I will not ever do is disrespect someone because I disagree with them. That's just not cool. I'm not going to sit up to talk about your mother. I'm not going to sit up here and cuss you out. At best, walk away. Leave them talking. The best way you can stop them is just leave them talking to themselves. So, bottom line, I say this. Vote November 3rd. Vote your conscience. Vote however you want. Don't let no one shame you into how you vote. And then let it be from there. Well, that's the Author's Corner. Thank you for tuning in for another week. Thank you for your patience with all the internet and everything going on. Peace. See you next week with 2 brand new authors. And as always, let your writing fuel your spirit, and God bless.